Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. My name is Tim Busse, and I have the honor of serving as mayor of the city of Bloomington. And I have the pleasure of welcoming you all tonight to our inaugural State of the Community event. It's an event put together designed to bring you information, real-time, up-to-the-minute information and details regarding the COVID-19 pandemic. As recently as just 2 weeks ago, we had tonight set aside for our annual State of the City event here in City Hall. We would have been across the hall in Schneider Theater with a couple of hundred people in the audience, many, many more online watching. The State of the City address traditionally recaps the city activities and accomplishments and gives an update on development and economic activity, and it provides a look at how we're doing as we work toward our city strategic goals. Obviously, the world has changed dramatically in the past 2 weeks, and we felt tonight's time was better spent providing a real-time update on the state of not just the city, but the community of Bloomington in general. Tonight, you'll hear updates from the city of Bloomington, from our partners in the Bloomington School District, Normandale Community College, and our nonprofit community. You're going to be hearing a lot of information tonight from many different sources, and it will be on top of the information that you've been hearing over the past 14 days from whatever source of information you choose to follow. In a time of crisis, I want to stress the importance of listening to experts and trusting the recommendations that are being set and based on factual information. The decisions being made at Bloomington City Hall are based on a solid set of facts and recommendations set forth by the Minnesota Department of Health and the Centers of Disease Control. The daily updates provided by Governor Walz and members of his cabinet have provided invaluable, fact-based direction and have set clear expectations for all Minnesotans. At the same time, our city staff is adjusting as necessary to meet Bloomington's specific needs. There's a constant back and forth with other agencies and with our community partners, and as always, cities are never shy about stealing good ideas and best practices from other cities. But the bottom line is that our decisions are being made based on recommendations by experts in the scientific and emergency management community. I expect you'll hear something similar from each of our community partners this evening. And we'll get to our community partners in just a minute. But before I get started, I wanted to take the opportunity to say thank you to a number of groups who, if not for this whole social distancing thing, I would do much more than say thank you. I would shake their hands or probably even give a number of them a hug. First, thank you to all of our healthcare workers who are literally on the front lines of this battle. I can only imagine the hours that you're putting in and the stress that you're under. I can't stress enough how thankful we are. The community cannot say thank you enough times, so I'll say it once more. Thank you for the work that you're doing. A second big thank you to all of the businesses and their employees who are grinding through all of this and who are literally helping us all in this community survive. From the folks working in the warehouse, to the folks driving the trucks, to the people restocking shelves overnight. Thank you for the work that you do. Thank you again to our city employees, many of whom who are working at home, many who can't work at home. So thank you again to our police, our fire, our public works employees who are out there doing essential city services and providing the services that you expect on a day-to-day basis. And finally, thank you to Bloomington residents for all that you have done and that you will continue to do to make this such a wonderful community. It's impressive to see so many people taking very seriously the recommendations regarding social distancing and, even more importantly, simply staying home. Thank you for your help in bending the curve. It's wonderful to hear the heartwarming random acts of kindness and generosity that we've seen, and we thank you for your taking care of others in this community. It's encouraging to see the support of our local businesses, to business owners, big and small, and to their employees, many of whom may not be collecting a paycheck now. Our heart goes out to you. I know it's a difficult time. We urge you, please, 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 hang in there as best you can. And I guarantee when this is over, the Bloomington community will be back in droves. And one final thank you to our community partners who are here with us tonight. Thank you for the work that you do, and thank you for agreeing to be part of the State of Community Address. I've been talking for a few months now about the enormously beneficial aspect of Bloomington where we are aligned, where we could align the goals, the strategies, and resources of all of our Bloomington community partners. If we could work intentionally in partnership to identify needs and assets, propose solutions, pilot new approaches, and ultimately deliver services and facilities in a way that ensures Bloomington community priorities are at the forefront, we would be a much stronger community. Sometimes a crisis helps to push talk into the realm of action, and I see that opportunity here. My hope is that this is more than just a one-time thing, and rather is the start of a deliberate and purposeful alignment among Bloomington community partners. And with that, let's go to our State of the Community event. I promise you, we are practicing safe social distance here, and the hand sanitizer is flowing freely here at Bloomington City Hall. First up will be Dr. Nick Kelly from the Bloomington Department of Health. Dr. Kelly?
Thank you, Mayor. My name is Nick Kelly. I'm the Assistant Public Health Administrator for the City of Bloomington's Public Health Division. We're at the beginning stages of a COVID-19 pandemic. This is a dynamic and unprecedented situation. Many of us have never experienced anything like this before. We're going to be dealing with this for a while, but it's something we're going to get through. Like many of you, there's knots in the bottoms of many of our stomachs as we think about the realities and the challenges that are going to be facing us, that we're already encountering, and that we will be encountering over the next several months. But we're going to get through this. One of the reasons why we're going to get through this is because we're taking aggressive actions in Minnesota to protect everyone. You see before you a graphic showing without protective measures, we would see a large wave of cases impacting our healthcare system. All of the strategies we're doing in Minnesota is designed to flatten that curve, to reduce the impact on our healthcare system so that when you need healthcare, you can get access to it. Stay home, Minnesota is the mantra that we're hearing out of our state offices and the mantra we're sharing here. People need to stay home and pay attention to this reality. This is a serious situation, and we need people to stay home unless they need to go out and get things from a food standpoint or get medication. Don't just go outside and have fun unless you're doing it responsibly in our beautiful parks, staying 6 feet away. This is graphics from the Minnesota Department of Health reminding you of the things everybody should be doing in the three most common languages we see in Bloomington, English, Spanish, and Somali. Wash your hands, 20 seconds, soap and water, stay home when you're sick, and cover your cough. Everybody needs to be practicing these best practices. Most cases of COVID-19 are mild. We expect to see 40 to 80% of Minnesota get sick over the next several months. Many of us will know family and friends that are getting sick, and it's going to be a mild illness. If you normally wouldn't go to the doctor in October when you get your normal influenza-like illness, you don't need to go to the doctor. Call your healthcare provider if you have a healthcare concern and seek care when things change. If you're sick with respiratory symptoms, stay home. We want people to stay home for 7 days or for 3 days with no fever, whichever is longer. You need to be protecting the community and taking care of your neighbors this way. We have a phenomenal series of resources on our website, blm.mn/COVID, COVID-PH. There is a phenomenal amount of resources, including a way to check your symptoms. If you have questions and want to talk to somebody, call the Minnesota Department of Health hotline. It's available 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, 651-201-3920, and follow the Bloomington social media, and enjoy our parks. Take care of your neighbors. Bloomington is an incredible community, and we're going to get through this together, but be responsible. Enjoy the parks, get out, stay 6 feet away from other people, and keep each other safe. And with that, our emergency manager, Chief Seal, is going to give some updates.
Good evening. My name's Julie Seal. I'm the fire chief and emergency manager for the city of Bloomington. And a couple of points, I guess. This pandemic is different from what we normally have as a traditional disaster. There's no physical infrastructure that's damaged. Trees aren't blown down. Structures aren't damaged. There's not floodwaters to divert. There aren't fires to put out. So it impacts our society differently. So this pandemic response that we're in is going to have a greater level of complexity than these other normal traditional disasters. So with that, stress to our healthcare system is occurring. It's occurring now. all right? That's going to mean that there's personal protective equipment that's in short supply. Hospital resources are stressed, both equipment and facilities. And because of that, it becomes all the more important that we follow those best practices and those guides that you're hearing as far as social distancing, staying at home, washing your hands, covering your cough, covering your sneeze. Economic impacts to our community, they're going to be substantial, but they're undetermined at this point. Everybody is kind of waiting to see what's going to happen there. I want to emphasize that all of our operations, our emergency operations, our emergency response are operating. Police, fire, EMS, public health, public works, and other city departments are operating where they need to operate and providing services that you need when you call. The emergency operations plan and continuity of operations plan are being utilized as appropriate to address immediate and longer-term issues that arise. We're meeting, city staff is meeting daily and discussing things daily to stay current with this rapidly changing situation. In most cases, our meetings are on WebEx or virtual, and in some cases, with proper accommodations, we're meeting in person. Planning is occurring to prepare for future developments and changes that may affect our operations and our ability to provide service to you. So, a couple of quick things. The state has declared an emergency. What does that mean, an emergency declaration? So that allows the governor to request federal assistance. It allows the governor to direct resources to the greatest need. It also allows the governor to enact orders and protect the public. Many of these things you have seen or heard already on the news. The city also declared an emergency. The mayor declared an emergency several days ago, and the city council ratified that. And that really allows the city council to seek aid and the city to be eligible for emergency assistance. It also allows the city manager to direct city resources to the greatest need. And it allows for emergency adjustment of city operations to protect the citizens and respond to the emergency. With those things laid out and operating, I believe the city is doing what it can right now to respond to this pandemic emergency. And with that, I'd introduce you the city manager of the city of Bloomington, Jamie Verbrugge.
Thank you, Chief. Welcome, everybody, to the State of the Community Address. I'm really encouraged by the leadership that we have seen from our partners throughout the community and how they're addressing this issue, starting with the mayor and the city council and the gravity and the seriousness with which they're approaching this, and also the optimism that they have approached this with, recognizing that we have an abundance of resources within our community. And so it is gratifying for us this evening to see our community partners here in the room with us and to give them an opportunity to share with you what they're doing to meet the needs in the community, and also to appeal to you in terms of how you can help not just each of these institutions and organizations, but also how you can help our community in this time of need. What I want to do for you tonight is real quickly just provide an update on where we are in the city services and what we do for you on a daily basis and the opportunities that we provide. As many of you are aware, we took a position on Friday, March 13th at the end of the day that it was important for us to close several of our facilities, especially the Creekside Community Center. Creekside is primarily a senior center, and we recognize that COVID-19 is particularly dangerous to people who are older and have underlying health conditions. And so we felt the responsible thing to do was to protect the seniors in our community. And so Creekside was closed on March 13th. We also closed the Bloomington Ice Garden and the Bloomington Center for the Arts, recognizing the direction from the CDC at that time was to limit gatherings of 250 people or more, and very quickly after that, the recommendation was scaled back to recommending that gatherings be limited to fewer than 50 people, And then shortly after that, scaled back even more to encouraging people not to gather in groups of more than 10. And here today we find ourselves sitting at least 6 feet apart as individuals. So as the information has developed over time, I think the actions that we've taken regarding our facility closures have both tracked that responsibly and reasonably. So after we closed the Ice Garden and the Center for the Arts in Creekside, for a few days, we were continuing to operate under the CDC recommendations, and it became apparent that some of our other operations needed to reflect the cautious approach. So we closed our motor vehicle services after Tuesday, March 17th. And we also restricted public access within Civic Plaza, so we maintained a point of contact at our information desk. And then just a couple days after that, we realized with the lack of traffic here in Civic Plaza, the best thing to do was to close the building to the public. Now, what I do want to reassure people is that your city staff continues to show up every day, continuing to provide service. So some of the services have been put on hiatus because the facilities aren't open, but most of the services that the community depends on continue to function. And so what I want to share with you this evening is that if you need city services, whatever area that is, you have a couple options. First, call Civic Plaza. There's going to be somebody answering the phone. The number is 563-8700. That's our main line. And from the main line, they'll be able to direct you to the department that should be able to help. Alternatively, you can go on to our website, www.bloomingtonmn.gov, bloomingtonmn.gov. And on our website, you should be able to find an easy-to-use directory to get you to the department that you need to help you at this time. So like I said, our services are still available. At the same time that we're drawing things down right now in terms of public access, we're also preparing for what even further restrictions may look like. I think many in the community have been following the governor's daily briefings. I think the governor and his staff and the leaders at the state are doing an excellent service for Minnesota by daily communicating expectations and updates. We're tracking those just like you are, and we keep hearing that it's possible there may be a stay-at-home or what they call maybe a shelter-in-place approach. Our staff is currently working on identifying those services that are going to be essential that we will continue to maintain. Somebody will answer the phone here in the event that there's a stay-at-home order. Police, fire, Public Works will all maintain a presence within the community, and there are some other services here at Civic Plaza because of the timing of where we are right now that we still will have that work going on. So even while you may be at home and things may slow down even more, you will have city staff available to you. So take advantage of that if you need information, if you need resources. I appreciate the information that Dr. Kelly shared. Reach out to us. That's what our staff is here for. They're here to help you. We're also planning for what our services look like when we're coming back. So we expect that there's going to be a gradual return to normalcy. We don't know what that time period is yet. We're continuing to learn more as we watch the governor's daily briefings and watch what's happening around the country. But at some time, things are going to start to look like they did before the pandemic started. We know that many of you have registered for our summer recreation programs. So we are closely watching the recommendations from CDC and Minnesota Department of Health to understand when it might be possible to return to providing those kinds of programs. So watch for more announcements coming from the city in that regard. We know that people are really looking forward to summer, and a lot of the amenities that we provide, like Bush Lake Beach and the Family Aquatic Center, and our golf courses, places where people really enjoy being. We're going to be waiting a little bit here to figure out when we're going to bring those back online, but I assure you, we will be communicating to you when we're making decisions in that regard. So stay tuned, watch the City of Bloomington's website, watch our social media, and be sure to follow us when we have events like this, and we'll share more information. So hopefully that gives you an update on where your city services are at. And now I want to welcome to the podium our community partners, beginning with Bloomington Public Schools and Rick Hoffman. Rick?
Thank you, City Manager. Good evening. My name is Rick Hoffman. I'm the Executive Director of Community Relations and Emergency Management for Bloomington Public Schools. We are happy to be here and thank you for the opportunity to share with you how we are responding as a school district to the COVID-19 outbreak. Our schools are currently closed and they'll remain so for the remainder of this week. We do anticipate and are prepared for an extension of the current state-required school closures. We're facing a lot of uncertainty. We know many of our students, families, and staff are experiencing stress and anxiety. We are reminded that it is during these times that our children look to the adults in their lives for security and guidance. Like school districts, government agencies, and businesses across Bloomington and the state, we are taking aggressive actions to slow the spread of COVID-19. We are challenged by this rapidly evolving outbreak and its impact on our ability to serve our families, our students, and our staff. We have met this challenge with a leadership team and committed emergency operations staff who together have worked tirelessly to develop contingency plans that are designed to minimize the disruption to teaching and learning and to protect our students and staff from potential exposure to and spread of the virus. We are in a crisis. And history shows that failure of most crisis response teams is a lack of timely information and communication. To that end, at the onset of COVID-19, we developed and are committed to a comprehensive effort to communicate and inform all of our stakeholders in an ongoing and timely manner. We've prepared distance learning plans that prioritize our instructional focus areas during a prolonged school closure. This is for children in early learning, for our kindergarten to grade 5, grades 6 through 12, special education services, and adult basic education. We relied on our school and technology leaders and our teachers' talents, creativity, and professional commitment to prepare these plans. They provide a variety of at-home learning experiences for our students. We are prepared to launch the distance learning plan on Monday, March 30th. The degree to which these distance learning plans roll out next week would not have been possible without the support of this community. You helped pass a safety and technology referendum in 2013. It allowed us to provide one-to-one devices and other technology tools that have transformed how we teach and how our students learn. And now, especially when the daily school and classroom activities have been altered. We encourage students, with their parents' help, to work on these activities at a pace that is best for each family. We understand these plans do not cover all of our content areas. Our teachers, our amazing teachers and support staff, will continue to post additional resources on our website and through other means to communicate to families. And they will be there each day for every child in every grade. Our school social workers will serve as a point person at each site to assist and provide resources to families on a weekly or as needed basis. We are setting up a crisis support call-in line to provide additional assistance for our families and our students that may be struggling in this uncertain times. Many of our families depend on our schools for consistent student meals. Last week, over 3 days, our incredibly talented food services personnel prepared more than 12,000 grab-and-go meals across 3 sites. Paraprofessionals from across the district helped to distribute those meals to Bloomington students ages 18 years and younger at Kennedy High School, Valley View Middle School, and Poplar Bridge Elementary School, where we are providing childcare for the parents in our district who are employed in a host of healthcare and emergency response functions. Each grab-and-go meal provided a hot lunch and breakfast items that was used for the next day. It included fruit, vegetables, and milk. We will continue providing school meals as long as the schools are closed. And we are studying the feasibility of expanding our meal deliveries at a Central or West Side school. We are also working on targeted deliveries to our large concentrations of our most at-risk students. Like many of our residents, we have staff with high-risk health conditions and others who are self-monitoring at home out of concern and caution to prevent the spread of COVID-19. Well, tonight, thankfully, we have no confirmed cases among our students, families, and staff to the best of our knowledge. We know it is only a matter of time. So what's next? The guidance from the Minnesota Department of Health, our partners at Bloomington Public Health, and the Centers for Disease Control are very clear. Taking precautions and implementing social distancing and other community mitigation strategies are prudent steps that we've put in place for all of our staff who are preparing and distributing meals, providing childcare, and working in other essential school functions. In the weeks ahead, we will experience a new normal with our distance learning plans. This is an opportunity for innovation. So we've empowered our leaders and faculty to use their ingenuity and share best practices as they emerge. We ask students and parents for patience and understanding as together we venture into district-wide distance learning for the first time. We know that providing accurate and timely communication is critical to our families and our staff. So we are committed to providing those timely updates when new information or guidance becomes available using our host of communication channels, which also includes social media and a dedicated COVID-19 webpage. Our community values are being tested at this time. We must continue to be united and support each other. We are extremely proud of our district and school staff who have stepped up to this challenge and continue to put the interests and safety of our students and families at the center of their work. Last year, we took the bold step to move to an all-licensed nursing staff model in each of our school staff. They, in partnership with our other school staff, have been an incredible, valuable resource. Last slide. We firmly believe our actions are necessary for the safety and well-being of our families. Staff and community, and as a school family, we are committed to continue to demonstrate compassion and care as we navigate this global health challenge. We want to thank the City of Bloomington, Mayor Busse, City Manager Verbrugge, Bloomington Public Health, and all of our community partners for collaborating and offering ways to help our students and families. We will be sharing in the days to come how businesses and individuals who wish to donate resources can do so. While we may never know if we overreacted or we did too much, we will know if we underreacted or did too little. So we thank you, our families, our employees, and our community. We see you, we appreciate you, and we will get through this together. Thank you. It's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Joyce Esther, President of Normandale Community College, as our next presenter.
Thank you, Rick. I am Joyce Esther, and I serve as the president of Normandale Community College. First of all, I want to thank the City of Bloomington for continuing to be one of the best partners that we have. Normandale Community College prides ourselves on saying that we are your college and your community, and in times like this, we absolutely know who our community is. So when this first started, we immediately went into action just like our colleagues at the Bloomington Public Schools, and we had a pandemic response team. And on the screen you will see we established a website at normandale.edu, and we have made a commitment that we will post something on that website every 24 hours, even if the update is no new news, because we know that this is rapidly changing and we want to make sure that people have all of the resource available. So I want to say from the beginning, if you want information about what's happening at Normandale Community College, please check out our website at normandale.edu. Every 24 hours there will be an update, even if it is no new update. We start looking at all of the things that are happening on our campus, and we make sure that all of our employees also have information. We have key communicators, so we're using our social media platform, which is our website, also Facebook, Twitter, all of those wonderful things. We've also sent out information to all of our faculty and staff, so if you are a Normandale student, you also will be getting emails. You'll get information from your faculty. You'll get information from the campus. So please, please, please make sure you check your D2L, your Facebook, or I'm sorry, D2L or your email. We have met with a task group. We have a task group that meets daily. It is led by our Vice President of Finance and Operation, Dr. Lisa Wheeler, who is leading up that effort. Early on, we knew that we needed to have a cross-functional team. So our team comes together every day to look at all of the questions that come in. We have a website. As I mentioned, we also have an email. You can email questions or concerns to president@normandale.edu, and we have a group of folks who look at those emails on a daily basis to respond. We are part of the Minnesota state system, so we are state employees, and so much like here at the city, we take our guidance from the governor, from the Center for Disease Control, and also Minnesota Department of Health. And so we're constantly giving lots of information, and we're also making sure that we follow that. We operate a little bit differently from the University of Minnesota, so oftentimes people will see information that says, well, University of Minnesota did this, how come you're not doing that? And just understand that we are structured a little bit differently. And so again, I would ask that if you have a question about what's happening at Normandale or at another Minnesota state school, please look at our information because we're slightly different. We have moved for this year, for this week and last week, we spent a lot of time getting our faculty ramped up to move most of our delivery online or in an alternative delivery format. So we do not have classes this week, but starting on next week, on Monday, classes will resume. So again, for any students who are listening, please make sure that you know that school resumes on Monday. We have moved most of our classes online where we could, but as you know, some classes aren't able to move online, like a lab or art labs or those kinds of things. And so we have worked at alternative formats for that. We also know that a lot of our students don't have either stable housing, they don't have internet access and things like that. So we've made a commitment to keep a lot of some of our resources open. So our computer labs, until further notice, will be open, as well as space in our library, because we do know that some of our students either don't have computing resources or have stable internet. Based on a survey that happened in 2018 of about 524 of our students, we found out that 36% of our students were food insecure in the last 30 days, 48% lacked stable housing, and 19% of our students were homeless. This is an important data point for us to recognize, because we know that in addition to making sure that we pay attention to health and safety, we also want to make sure we get our students to the finish line of their academic goals. Normandale is uniquely powerful in this community, and we want to maintain that resource for our students. So as of today, spring break, as I said before, was extended 1 week, and I've already talked about that, and our faculty are doing an amazing job, and I want to give a shout out to our faculty and our staff who are doing yeoman's work, really trying to make sure that they are coming up with alternative plans for our students. So we also wanted to know that our students, 37% of our students took some online courses, but we also have a number of students who've never had any of those online resources. So our faculty are doing a lot of things to help students through this new modality. So some of the things going forward, as I said, our building will remain open. One of the most important things that we have open is our campus cupboard. We talked about that when I said that our students are food insecure or homeless. So for any student who is out there, our campus cupboard will be open for you to come, and we've actually relaxed the standards a little bit so you can get more food than normally can. So please come. It is located in the library. Again, our computer labs will be open. And one of the things that we talk about is getting our students to the finish line. This year we have about 8,713 students enroll in the spring semester, with about 1,200 planning to graduate. We really want to get those students to the finish line. So that is our goal. So that's one of the reasons why we're trying to keep as many of our resources available for our students so that they can finish the semester. So just stay tuned. There's been a question about commencement, and we are looking at various ways that we can celebrate you. And through the social distancing, it has been very important for us to make sure that we don't have large gatherings, but rest assured we are going to find a way to celebrate your success, because we know that you've worked hard for this milestone. So stay tuned for more information on that. So we can go on to the next slide. So really, how can you help? My final slide would be, if you are interested in helping Normandale, you can make some emergency grants, and the information is on the screen. Normandale.edu /foundation to make some donations. We really appreciate you. We appreciate everything that you've done. As they talked about the many things that we can do for social distancing, please remember, if you're out for a walk, we have our lovely Japanese garden. Might be a wonderful place for you to walk and get a little bit of fresh air. But most importantly, I want you all to remain safe, remain healthy, and remember, Normandale is your college, and we are a part of your community. Thanks so much. I will now bring up Joe McDonald, CEO of VEEP.
Good evening, Bloomington. Thank you, Mayor Busse and the rest of the city staff who have provided leadership in these extraordinary circumstances. My name is Joe McDonald. I'm the CEO of VEEP, Volunteers Enlisted to Assist People, and it really is my privilege to serve the community of Bloomington. In simplest terms, VEEP gets food to people who need food, and we keep people secure in their homes through a financial crisis. And before I say anything else, I want to say this. I firmly believe, I am confident that the abundance, the generosity, and the compassion within our community will be able to meet the increased need of our neighbors in this current crisis. At VEEP, we believe that every single person deserves to experience food security and housing stability. And we rely on the generosity within our community, businesses, faith communities, schools, individuals, and families to help us meet the needs of our hardworking neighbors. VEEP is a 47-year-old nonprofit organization that provides food and housing supports to residents of Bloomington, Richfield, Edina, and South Minneapolis who are living on fixed and low incomes. We have great partnerships with the City of Bloomington, with Bloomington Public Schools, with Normandale Community College, and with our fellow nonprofits within Bloomington. And within those partnerships, VEEP's unique role is to be the primary source of food and housing supports to our neighbors who need assistance. Accessing those food and housing supports will be critical in the weeks and months to come, and we will continue to provide our programs. They're just going to look different for a little while. The health and safety of our staff, our volunteers, and our participants are our top priority, and we are taking the recommended precautions while also ensuring that families continue to get the food and supports that are needed. On Monday, we implemented a new drive-up food distribution system where people don't even need to leave their cars to receive food, and all our non-food support services will be taken care of over the phone. This health crisis is obviously having a major impact on jobs and on the economy, and we anticipate a significant increase in demand on our food and housing programs, both in the short term for the rest of this year and even into the next. From what we're hearing from the food banks that provide about 90% of our food, from what we're learning about unemployment applications over the last few days in the state, and knowing that many of our participants work in the service industry, we anticipate up to double the demand for our food and housing supports. This next slide will provide some context on what that will look like for us. In 2019, we provided food support to over 8,000 households and almost 25,000 children, youth, adults, and seniors, 50% of them being Bloomington residents. We distributed 4.3 million pounds of food, which was 600,000 pounds more than we had done in any other year in our history. Over the past 5 months, we have seen 160 households in our pantry each day, accounting for over 10,000 people accessing assistance in our building every month. In addition to food, we also help to keep over 300 children, youth, adults, and seniors safe and secure in their homes through a financial crisis, avoiding eviction and the possibility of homelessness. We did that by offering nearly $150,000 in housing assistance grants to those families. That's why we're asking, so when you consider that volume of assistance that we already provide, you can imagine the significant impact that this health crisis will have on VEEP and on our community members. That's why we're asking for your support. This last slide shows how you can do that. First, we're asking for your financial support to help us continue to access the food that we need to get to the families who need it, to be able to feed and offer housing support to what we imagine will be an increased demand from families and individuals. With our food bank relationships, we really can stretch every dollar that we are given, and that's going to be critically important at this time. $100 can provide meals for a week for 30 people. A $100,000 gift is the average amount of one of our housing assistance grants that can keep a family safe and secure in their home. You can give by going to veep.org/give. You can mail in your gift, or you can utilize our text to give option by texting VEAP to 56651. We continue to receive food and other donations as we always do. Right now we're emphasizing low sodium canned soups, boxes of pasta, and low sugar whole grain cereals, as well as toilet paper and diapers. And if you would like to volunteer, you can go to the volunteer page on our website, fill out a fast track application, and sign up for a warehouse or distribution shift. In closing, I want to repeat what I said at the beginning. I am confident that the generosity, the abundance, and the compassion of our community will meet the increased need of our neighbors at this moment. We can and we will get through this, and we can only do that if we do it together, and I'm confident that we will. Thank you, and I'd like to introduce Nicole Mills, Executive Director of Oasis for Youth.
Thank you, Joe. Good evening, my name is Nicole Mills, and I'm the Executive Director at Oasis for Youth. At Oasis, we serve young adults ages 16 to 24, experiencing homelessness and housing instability. We work very hard to be the trusted resource for our youth in Bloomington, Richfield, and Edina. This is a very uncertain time, but what I do know is that I have faith in our community to do its best for all of its citizens. I trust our local officials, I trust our city staff, and I trust all of our neighbors to step up in times of crisis, to offer support when we need it. And now more than ever, our young people need us. Last year we served 441 youth in all of our programs, from drop-in to school-based outreach inside of our high schools and alternative learning programs, and our partners at Normandale Community College, and in our employment program at the Mall of America. I foreshadowed that our needs from services from basic needs like food, clothing, showers, and long-term supports like assistance with employment and other housing resources like eviction prevention are only going to increase in this uncertain time. During this time, we've had to make some changes to our service delivery, and we're also seeing some significant trend changes just in the past 2 weeks. We've shifted our services to be one-to-one case management, appointment only, at our drop-in center and our office at the Mall of America, which had to close down. We did this to ensure that we weren't congregating. We followed that CDC recommendation. And we've also shifted our team to be more available for delivery services, to deliver things such as food, hygiene, and other emergency supports, such as gift cards to Target and Walgreens, so people could purchase much needed medication. We've moved from in a matter of 2 weeks, we've seen our employment shortage, where our local employers were struggling to fill open positions, to an unemployment crisis. We have an unprecedented amount of young people losing their jobs in our service industry and our retail industry. Last year alone, 70% of our youth were working, and those were the industries they were working in. At Oasis, we are bracing for the long-term impacts of an unemployment and job loss. Our team has become well-versed in assisting with unemployment insurance. That was something that was a rarity just a few weeks ago. Our youth are struggling with housing, from instability to paying for rent. Most of our youth are in overcrowded living situations, making them more at risk for exposure, and more likely to be stuck in an abusive or unsafe living environment. We're working to get our youth their basic needs met. Just last Friday, we delivered 16 bags of food to young people. We're also concerned about young families, our young families that are now faced with no paycheck. Just today, we had a young woman come in because she just didn't know what to do. I mean, what do you do in these moments? That's why we still want to be here for our young folks. We helped her get diapers and we helped her get formula right away. In addition to basic needs, we're also concerned about the reduction in public transportation and how this will negatively impact our youth. Our youth that are still working need public transportation to get to their jobs, and some of our youth are working in nursing homes and other essential services. We're also concerned that this will be a further barrier for youth to get their basic needs. These are just a few changes we have navigated in the past few weeks as our community has been hit by the COVID-19 virus. I believe we are just at the beginning of understanding the impacts of this pandemic on our youth and on our seniors. Oasis, now more than ever, continues to need your support. Please help us make sure that our youth have all the resources they need to stay healthy and to stay safe in this uncertain time. We are doing our best to do as much outreach as possible, but we need to rely on all of you to help us get our information in the hands of the people that need it. We ask you to visit our website at www.oasisforyouth.org. Our resources will also be listed on the City of Bloomington webpage, and all of our partners that have been here tonight, all of our contact information will be together. I want to thank you all for your support. I, again, have so much faith in this community and faith in the leadership and everyone up here who has spoken tonight, and all of you, to really come together in times of need. So thank you so much.
Thanks, Nicole. My name is Meg Schnabel, and I am the Executive Director at Cornerstone, and it is wonderful to be here this evening and to be sharing information and updates around our programs and services. The mission of our agency is to serve and respond to the needs of anyone who has been impacted by domestic violence, sexual violence, human trafficking, and general crime. And if you are an individual in our community who's experienced or who is experiencing this type of crime, I want you to know it's not your fault, you aren't alone, and help is available. For those that need help, I'd like to tell you a little bit about what Cornerstone is doing and how to access our services. For those who need immediate access to support, resources, and safe emergency shelter, you can contact our 24/7 crisis line to speak with an advocate at any time of the day or night. Again, I want to repeat that. You can contact our crisis line at any time of the day or night, and you will have a live person answer that line. That phone number is 1-866-223-1111. We also are available by text or chat, and that information is available on our presentation that will be uploaded. For those that are in need of obtaining an order of protection, a harassment or restraining order, we do have advocates that can help you obtain those either online or via phone. We also have staff available that will attend court hearings with you, court accompaniment for civil order hearings. Throughout the school year, Cornerstone staff are typically in the classrooms, providing school-based violence prevention education and working individually with students. While we have modified our services, I want you to know that our school-based team is still available Monday through Friday to meet with existing and new students. We're providing services via telehealth, chat, and video conferencing. To access services, just call or text 612-354-6686. We also have an amazing Facebook page for youth if you want to share that information and pass that along to your friends. As you know, there are many victims of crime that may be interested in accessing clinical mental health services. During this time of isolation in homes, it may be even more priority for many. Our clinical service team is accepting new referrals right now as we speak for therapy who wish to access that online through teletherapy. This is being done to help protect the safety of those that want help as well as our own staff. And finally, Cornerstone has staff support available for victims of general crime. This includes such things as property crimes, burglary, identity theft, robbery, and hate crimes. We can help with providing emergency financial assistance, safety planning, connecting you to resources, and referrals in the community. Our general crime line number is 612-767-9844. This as well is answered by someone live at all times. Again, if you or someone you know need services, please reach out to Cornerstone. We're available and we are ready to support you. And of course, if someone is interested in supporting our work, please do that via our website at cornerstonemn.org. Thank you all for having our community partners here this evening, and thank you, Mayor. And I believe you're going to end with some final remarks.
Thank you, Meg, and thank you to everyone for participating this evening. It gives me, in this very difficult time, it gives me great comfort to know that our community leaders are not only excellent and outstanding in what they do, but they lead with heart as well. And I think we heard that from everybody, and they're just, that can't be overstated and that can't be overlooked, and especially now. So thank you all so very much for being here. A couple of things as we wrap up. The first is folks who have been watching online noticed a little note saying we weren't taking questions at the time. We just weren't set up, prepared to do that. We weren't sure exactly how that was going to work. But I encourage you, submit your questions. If you have questions specific to some of the topics that we've talked about tonight, or maybe topics we didn't talk about tonight, please submit them either via the Facebook page, or you can contact anyone at the City Hall. My contact information has been available on the city website for 9 years now. Please do reach out to me. Feel free to email me, give me a call if you'd like. We will do our best to answer any and all questions that you do have. I will address one that I saw. I saw a number of them come in as I was watching. Technology is a wonderful thing. I can watch this as it's all happening. One question that folks did have was about curbside cleanup. I will say specifically that we're in discussion with the haulers regarding curbside cleanup right now. There's a lot of issues back and forth, whether the availability of workers and the ability of the haulers to do it versus the safety of doing it. That discussion is ongoing, but I appreciate everybody weighing in and some of their thoughts on that. It's a discussion that will continue, so thank you so very much for your questions on that. A couple of other thank yous as we wrap up. Thank you to our state legislative delegation. We are in constant contact with our state elected officials, and they have been more than supportive, as they always are for the city of Bloomington. Thanks also to our partners at Hennepin County who do the same. They are always very supportive of the work that we do here in the city of Bloomington, and we really do appreciate all the work that you do. One last thought. I will admit I never expected that in my first 3 months as mayor that I'd be dealing with a global pandemic. That was never in the plan. That was never something that I thought might ever happen. But here we are. And I hope that I appreciate all of the support that people have given, the support that I've received from friends, from supporters, from people that I've met, and the support that I've received from people who don't necessarily fit into those categories. It's been a great example of the community coming together around a very difficult issue, and I really do appreciate all that this community has done and the support that you've shown. I want to end with one of my favorite quotes. Is from Winston Churchill, who during the Blitz in World War II, his quote was, "When you're going through hell, keep going." And folks, that's what we have to do right now. We are a long way from seeing the end of the light at the end of the tunnel on this. It is going to be a difficult time for all of us here in Bloomington, in the state of Minnesota, and the United States of America. So appreciate your willingness to stick through it, to work through this, to tough it out, because it's going to be a difficult time, and we get through it together, and we get through it as a community. So thank you all so very much. We hope to do this again in the near future with additional updates as needed, so please do join us then. A reminder, this will be available on the City of Bloomington website as a taped program. You can take a look at it then if you haven't watched it live, and you have the opportunity to watch it again if you have. Thank you all so very much. Be safe. Stay healthy, Bloomington.